So this is segment number 6 of our discussion starters, and I hope it's starting some discussion in groups, and use it any way that works well for your groups to get to know the book of James a little better. We're looking at a passage that probably has come up several times, and I think it's probably pretty pertinent to where we're at right now. It's James chapter 3, verses 14 through 26. What good is it, my brothers, if a man claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save him? Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says, I wish you well, keep warm and well fed, but does nothing about his physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. So it comes back into that age-old question about what saves you? Well, we know from Ephesians 2, verses 8 and 9, that we are saved by grace through faith, not by works, so that no one can boast. But verse 10 goes on and says, for if we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. So even Paul says that faith and action are connected to each other. It's interesting in this passage, if you go on and look at it, talks about different constructs of it, about by faith I show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith, but what I do. Even you believe that there's one God. Good. Even demons believe that and shudder. I mean, if our faith is that there's a God, that's not really proof in the pudding. But it's actually our faith that moves us in our passion to action. That is evidence. It's not the salvation, but it's evidence that God has worked in our hearts and that we have that kind of faith. In fact, it's such faith that you go down in verse 22, you see that his faith and his actions were working together. He's talking about Abraham giving his son Isaac. Most of us, our faith is not checked at that level. Do we have enough faith that we'd actually go and sacrifice if God asked us to do so? And it's one thing to sacrifice a turkey or a chicken. It's another one to put our own son on the altar. The interesting flip of that is the fact that Rahab was a hooker, a prostitute, and she's considered righteous in verse 25 for what she did when she gave lodging to the spies and sent them off in a different direction. As the body without the spirit is dead, so is faith without deeds. So, we think about all those things that we do in the name of our faith. I wonder sometimes, is it really our faith that fuels that passion? Or are we doing good works for good works' sake? My hope is that you are serving the Lord from your faith, from the passion that God has given you about who He is and who He's called you and I to be. Because faith, without those actions that faith inspires, that faith is dead. So what I'd invite you to do is think about it.